Hi, welcome to the video tutorial Hibernate one-to-many mapping example using annotations. I am Nam Minh from codejava.net. Suppose that in the database we have an entity relationship one-to-many between two tables like this, a category table and a product table. A category can refer to one or more products, and this one-to-many relationship is denoted by the foreign key in the product table category underscore ID that refers to the primary key category underscore ID of the category table. And in the Java side, you want to have a category object that refer to one or more product objects, 1, 2, 3. So in this tutorial, I will guide you how to develop a Java Hibernate project to implement one-to-many mapping using JPA Annotations. Here are the technologies to be used in this tutorial. A Hibernate framework called JPA Annotations to implement one-to-many mapping. MySQL JDBC driver to connect to MySQL database, and make sure that you have the following software programs installed on your computer to follow this tutorial: Java Development Kit JDK, MySQL Database Server and Workbench tool, and Eclipse IDE for development of a Java project. First, let's create two tables in the database, category and product, and then we will use reverse engineering to implement one-to-many mapping with Hibernate. This is my SQL Workbench running on my computer. I'm using my SQL database server running on the same computer, and this is a test database. And now let's create the tables, category and product here. Create table. The first table is a category with symbol 2 columns. Category underscore ID is a primary column. Check here, primary key, not no, and check this option, auto increment. And the second field, second column of the table is name, not no. That's it. Click apply. Review the SQL statement to create the table. Apply. Finish. So we have the category table created. Here you see with two columns, category underscore ID and name. And the second table is a product table that has a foreign key to the category table with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fields: product underscore ID, name, description, price, and category underscore ID. So create the second table here. Create table. Table name is product. The first column is a primary column, product underscore ID. Data type integer, pk, primary key, not no, auto increment. So the values for this primary column will be automatically generated by the database. And name, not no, description. The size of the description column is 512. Watch out, 512. 512. And price. The data type of this column is float. Also not no, and the last column is a foreign key column, category underscore ID, that refers to the primary key of the category table. Data type is integer, not no. Okay, and then click apply to create this table. Apply. Finish. And now let's define the foreign key here. Foreign key name is category underscore fk. Reference table is a product table. Column product underscore id. Category underscore id. And reference column is category underscore id. And check here. So you see the foreign key. Click apply. Apply. We got an error here. The reference table is a category table. Sorry. Category table. Category ID. Category ID. Apply. Let us do again. Save. So we have two tables, category and product here. Now let's create a constraint for the foreign key for the product table. Right click on the table. Foreign keys here. Category underscore fk. Reference table is a category table. Column is category underscore id on the product table, and reference column is category underscore id on the category table. Apply. Apply. Success. Finished. Okay. So we got the database with two tables, category and product, that has one-to-many relationship between the two entities. And next, we create a Java project in Eclipse IDE. You see this is Eclipse IDE on my computer. And let's create a new project. File, new Maven project, so we can use a dependency injection and management of Maven. Check this option to create a simple project. Next, and specify the group ID net.code java. Artifact ID is Hibernate one to many. Hibernate one to many mapping. Description examples. Click finish. So we got a Java project Maven created here, and change the Java version to Java 1.8. Okay, and open the Maven project build file form.xml to specify the dependency for Hibernate framework core and MySQL JDBC driver. Dependencies, and the first dependency we need is for the core APIs of Hibernate framework. Group ID is org.hibernate, and artifact ID is hibernate-core, and the version is 5.4.4 or final. This is the latest version of Hibernate framework as of now. At the time I write this code, save, and Maven will automatically download the required jar files for Hibernate framework, as you can see here, Hibernate core and many related jar files. And the second dependency we need for the project is MySQL JDBC driver to connect to MySQL database. Group ID is MySQL. Artifact ID is MySQL connector dash Java, and version is 5.1.46, which is compatible with the version of MySQL Database server on my computer. Okay, save, and you see the jar file for MySQL Database JDBC driver here. Next, we need to create a Hibernate configuration file to specify the database connection information. So we create a HTML file here under the source /main /resources folder, new, other, and choose the type is HTML. Next, and the Hibernate configuration file name is hibernate.cfg.xml. Finish. And the root element of this configuration file is hibernate-configuration, and then a session factory. And then we specify the properties for database connection information. Property name not connection. The first property is a database connection URL. Copy paste for multiple properties. Value for the URL is JDBC : MySQL : double forward slashes, and the host name is localhost because I'm running MySQL database server on the same machine. Default port number of MySQL is 3306, and then the schema name or database name is test. As you can see in MySQL Workbench, we have the test database schema here. And the second property is for the username. I'm using the username root, and then password. I'm using the password. And we also need to specify the dialect for the database. Dialect for MySQL, we use a class name org.hibernate dialect.mysql5 dialect. And we want Hibernate to show SQL statement as well as formatting the SQL statement. So we specify two additional property for that. Name equal Hibernate dot show underscore SQL value true, and format the SQL statement as well. Format and underscore SQL. And this is a Hibernate configuration file. And now we are going to write code for Java entity classes to implement one-to-many relationship, one-to-many mapping. So we will be creating two classes, category and product, and to implement one-to-many relationship between category and product. Category object can refer to one or more product objects. So in the category class, we need to have a collection of products here. So we use a set collection, and we use annotation one-to-many JPA annotation. And in the product entity class, we have a reference back to the category, and we use many-to-one annotation, and we use a join column annotation. Now in the project, we create two entity classes. So I click new class. Package name is net.code.java. The name of the class is category. In the database, the category table has only two columns, category underscore ID and name. So in the Java entity class, we also have only two fields to map with that two columns, private integer ID and string name. And we use the entity annotation to specify that this class is an entity that maps to a table in the database. We choose the entity annotation from the Java x.persistent, which is of JPA, Java Persistent API. And we specify the table name. If the class name is identical to the table name, we don't need to explicitly specify the table name. But here I specify the table name for example. And then for the ID field, we need to use the ID annotation to specify that this is a primary column. And we need to use the generated value for this primary column, because its values will be automatically generated and incremented by the database. So the strategy is generation type identity, and we use a column annotation to specify the name of the column in the database, which is category underscore ID. You see the name of the column in the database, category underscore ID and name. And for the second field, we don't use column annotation because this field has the same name with the column name in the database. And to implement one-to-many relationship between category and product, we need to have a collection set of product in the category class. So here we declare a collection set product, but the class product not yet created. So we create a new class for product here. Class name product. Okay. The name of this collection is products, and we use a one-to-many annotation for the collection here, and we use specify the mapped by attribute, which is category. Category is the name of the entity category here, and we specify the cascade type to specify the action on cascade. So when a parent object is updated, all its children also be updated as well. So this is exactly how to do map one-to-many annotation, one-to-many mapping, one-to-many relationship using JPA annotation. many on a collection. And then we need to generate method and set methods for this entity class. Select all and generate. We also need to generate some constructors. So generate constructor using fields name and generate an empty constructor. Okay. So we wrote the first entity class coded to implement one-to-many mapping here. The key point is use one-to-many annotation on a collection refers to the refer to another entity class. And next we need to create the entity class for product. Here we use the annotation entity and the annotation table name equal product. And this entity class has the same fields as the columns in the database. You see the product table in the database, we have columns, product ID, name, description, price, and category. Private integer ID, string name, string description, float price, and a reference to the category. And we generate setter and methods for this class. So generate getter and setters here. Select all. Generate. Reformat the code. Sort format. And we also need to generate constructors. Some constructors. Constructor using fields. Unselect ID field. And click generate. And also generate no argument constructor. Okay. And now let's use JPA Annotation to map this entity class with a table in the database. This is a primary column, so we use a ID annotation and column name is product underscore ID and generated value, which strategy is a generation type identity. Name, description, price have the same name with the columns in the table, so we don't use any annotation. And for the category object, that refers that acts as the foreign key to the category table. We use many to one annotation and join column annotation. Yeah, many to one and join column. We specify the join column, which is a foreign key column in the product table category underscore ID. That's it. That's for the product entity class. And then in the Hibernate configuration file, we need to specify those two entity class. Mapping class equal. The first class is net.codejava.category. We need to declare this entity classes so Hibernate we know and load product. Okay. Now let's code a test program to test the one-to-many mapping. So we create a console program here. Name of the class is Hibernate one-to-many test. Check this to create the main method. Finish. Here we go. And first we need to build a session factory from Hibernate. Standard service registry equal new standard service registry builder configure to load the configuration from the HTML file and then build a standard service registry. And then we create a new session factory. Session factory equal registry. New metadata sources. Registry, and then use the metadata and use the session factory. Build session factory. And from the session factory, we open a session equal session factory. Open session and begin a transaction from this session. Begin transaction. And now let's create some product object and a category object to proceed into the database. The first object is category. Category equal new category. For example, the category name is mobile phones. And then we create 3 different product objects. In product 1 equal new. We use this constructor to pass the product name, description, price, and the parent category. Name is iPhone 10. Description: the best phone ever, price 899. And for the second product, third product, product 2, product 3, product 2 is MacBook Pro. Description: the best computer ever, price 1000. And the third product is Xbox 360, the best game console ever, price is 499. And then we need to add these 3 product objects to the category object. Category get products collection here. Add product 1. Do the same for product 2 and product 3. And finally, we proceed the parent only the parent object category to the database session.save category. And finally, we commit the transaction. Let transaction commit and close the session and session factory. Session close. Session factory close. So you see, to proceed one-to-many relationship, we first create a parent object category and children objects, some product objects, and we need to add the children object to the parent. And finally, we save to the session. Okay, now let's run this program. I hope it will work for the first time. Run as Java application. We got a null pointer exception here. Oh, sorry. In the category class, we need to instantiate the collection new asset. Okay, and run the program again. You see, Hibernate brings SQL statement here. You can see there's a statement to insert to the category table, and then the 3 insert statement to insert 3 rows into the product table here. You see, that means the program works properly. And let's check the database here. Select all rows from the category table first. Rows, and you see there's 1 row for mobile phones for the category here. Category ID 1, and let's select row from product table. And you see there are 3 rows in the product table here for the product iPhone 10, MacBook Pro, Xbox 360. Very good, right? You see the values for the foreign key category underscore ID is 1, which is the ID of the category mobile phones here. Note that for this one-to-many relationship to work, we need to specify the cascade. You see the cascade type in the category side to all here. So when we proceed category object, each children also proceeded object product. You see here we proceed only the category, and because it is cascading to all the children, so all the product objects got proceeded as well. And now let's write code to select a category from the database. Session get the class type is category class, and ID is ID1 in the database, and we assign the return object to a category object. Okay, and then we print the information of this category object. System out category get name, and with one-to-many mapping we already made, we can get the product objects from this category. Category get products, assign this to a set product. Equal. And we print the information of each product in the collection. For the product in the products, we print the information of each product, and in the entity class product we override is toString method to print the details. Source generate toString. Yeah, that uncheck category to print all the fields. Generate. Okay. And now let's run this program again. You see Hibernate print SQL select statement, select from category to select a parent category object, and then it select product from product table, and finally you see it print the name of the category mobile phones, and then it print the information of the 3 products associated with the category: ID3, ID2, ID1. Name you see here, correct. Very good, right? Let's write code to proceed a single product associated with a category. So we delete this code, and then we create a product object. Product equal new product. Name is Kindle reader. Description is the best reader ever. Price $2.99. And the current category new category is, for example, e-readers, and we pass the category object here as a parent object to this product. And now we, instead of proceeding the category object, we save the product object session. Save product. Okay, let's run this program. Sorry, we also need to add the product to the collection products of the category. Add product. And now instead of saving a category, we save a product. Now run this program again, and we got an exception. See, because it tried to insert the product first, but the category doesn't exist in the database. It doesn't proceed the category, so we got an exception column. Category underscore ID cannot be no. So was the one-to-many relationship, it's better to save the parent first, or if we want to save the child, we need to specify the category ID which that exists in the database. Category set ID ID1. ID1 is the ID of an existing of the mobile phones category in the database here. Now let's run the program again. And now it successfully saves the product object to the database. And let's refresh this, and you see the new product Kindle with the got inserted here. And now let's write code to delete the parent. Delete the parent category 1 session. Delete category. Nothing print in the console. And let's check the database. Nothing got deleted. You want to delete, you need to get its object first from the database and then call delete. Let me show you how. Category equal session get category dot class and then ID 1. Then go session delete category. Sorry, we have not commit the transaction yet. After delete, we need to commit the transaction because this operation does make changes to the database. The transaction commit. Now run the program again. And you see, Hibernate tries to delete the category, but it got exception because the category is still referenced by many products. And you see in the table here, the category ID1 cannot be deleted because there are some products refer to it to the category ID1 here. So if you want to delete the one-to-many relationship, we need to delete all the children objects first, and then we can delete the parent object. Yeah, let's delete the product 1 equal new product, and we just set the ID product 1 set ID 1, and then we delete the product ID 1. delete product 1, and similarly we delete the product 2, product 3, product 4, product 2, ID 2, product 3, product 4, product 3, ID 3, product 4, ID 4, and we delete all the 4 products. And finally we delete the category. And now let's run this program again. We still got an error. It's because I have tried to delete category before all the product got deleted. So comment this line and run again. And now you can see the products got deleted from the database. Refresh and you see only the product ID 4. Oh, sorry, my mistake. I must change the reference here. Product ID 2, ID 3. Okay, no problem. Try again. We just delete 3 product objects and it should work. And you see it deletes product first. The 3 SQL delete statement 1, 2, 3 for the product deletion, and then it deletes the category. You see here. And let's check the database. The both table should be empty. You see, empty, and category empty. Far you have learned how to implement one-to-many mapping with JPA Annotations with Hibernate framework. So the important point is to use the annotation one-to-many in the parent entity class, and many-to-one in the child entity class, and also the join column annotation. I hope you will find this video tutorial helpful. Please like, comment, and share. Thank you.